So I joined the Air Force in 1995. I went to a university in Colorado, up just north of Denver, Colorado State. Graduated in '95. I went through the Air Force ROTC program there, so that gets you ready to be an officer in the Air Force. Entered in 1995. At the time, I did not have the eyesight to be a pilot, so I only was a navigator qualified, and at the time they had shut down the Air Force Navigator Training School for about 2 years. After Desert Storm, they got rid of F-4s, F-111s, a lot of the airplanes went away, and so they shut down the nav school for 2 years in the early to mid 90s, and so there was not many navigator slots as I came out of college, so it wasn't until about 1997 that I got picked up to go to flight school.
And did you always call them navigators? Because I thought Americans always referred to them as WSOs.
No, it depends on what kind of planes you fly. So traditionally, WSOs were folks that flew fighters and bombers, and then navigators were folks that flew C-130s, RC-135s, KC-135s at the time, back when they had navigators. So the WSOs was really mostly F-15E, B-52, B-1 kind of platforms.
Mm-hmm. So can you talk us through some of your initial training as a WSO?
I went to called the Joint Undergraduate Navigator Training. So this was a program that was run by the Navy, but we had all the different services that had navigators in their platform. So the Marines were down there, folks that were going to fly the F-18 and the EA-6 Prowler. We had Navy officers down there, then Air Force officers, and then we also had an international footprint down there. So the Germans were there, folks were going to fly the F-4 and the Tornado for the German Air Force. We had Royal Saudi Air Force students there, so it was kind of a mixed bag of not only joint forces on the U.S. side, but also international flavor. So.
And did WSOs go through a separate course and pilots?
So after navigator training, so the pilot training and navigator training is separate until we met up at, we all got selected, however, what aircraft you selected, we ended up at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base in North Carolina. Once you get to Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, all the pilots and WSOs, you're crewed with a student pilot and a student WSO are crewed together. And so we go through the same course together, we fly the same missions together. There's a few additional flights that the pilots fly with an instructor pilot in the back seat before they put a WSO in. Those are typically the very first couple flights in the training. Hey, learn how to take off and land, learn how to do emergency procedures, learn how to do approaches in the visual circuit and the instrument circuit, and then they'll put us together and we'll fly together as a two-ship.